I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, a little bit here. This is a stole that I bought at the World Parliament of Religions. And at the bottom, it's kind of hard to see, there's a heart that says harmony. These, I mean, there's so many religious traditions that are represented here. Um, I'm so grateful to have this stole. I actually bought it right off of the creators because she had brought about 5,000 and they sold immediately. So let me speak, my beloveds, about my experience of harmony and oneness, a living experience of this. I was blessed. I'm so grateful for my best friend, Dr. Liza. Many of you have met her. She's come to the community, she's come online, but I tell her she's my events planner because I never, being in school, being a full-time hairstylist, a very busy life, I'm not always abreast to the things that are happening in our movement. And so my head is down on trying to get to the end of my studies. So about a year ago, Liza said to me, everyone in CSL, everybody in Unity is going to the World Parliament of Religions. I said, really? And she mentioned to me that the first ever World Parliament of World Religions had been in 1893. It was started by, it was a friendship, a correspondence group, pen pals, that had begun between some Episcopalian progressive ministers and members of the Baha'i faith. And the Baha'i faith began or sprung forth in about the 18th century in Iran. Baha'u'llah claimed, and I'm actually a card-carrying Baha'i, he claimed that he was the fifth apparition of God's messengers, that the universal one, the infinite, would send holy men and women, such as the Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, different teachers, until the end of time, so that we would get the message of awakening, of oneness, that you are spiritual beings having a human experience. So Baha'u'llah began the movement. I met some Baha'is on my college campus, and I was astounded to meet a young African man married to a Chinese woman and a Russian man married to a Brazilian woman. And their tenet was the oneness of humanity. So these Episcopalians and Baha'is had the first ever Parliament of World Religions in 1893. They attempted to do the same thing for 100 years, but it was kind of frowned upon. They didn't have enough money. They didn't know how to communicate with all of the other religious leaders across the planet. It was hard to do. They couldn't get the financing. And in 1993, a millionaire who is Christian and very much in the interfaith movement sponsored the second ever in 1993. And since then, very much like the Olympics, they occur every 4 years. My cat has missed me so much, she's meowing. So sorry, she's been acting up since I got back. And so I'd like to tell you who attended, who was there, the dignitaries. Reverend Jesse Jackson, Nancy Pelosi sent a message. I met Reverend Bobby Rush, who is one of the originators and founders of the Black Panthers, who became a minister as well. The theme of this year was called A Call to Consciously Defending Freedom and Human Rights. The topics were human rights, food insecurity, racism, women's rights, and eco-spirituality. At the end of the conference, and I'll be going back and forth, we were asked to make the Amazon our focal point, that the lungs of the planet are being killed. 80% of the world's animals abide in the rainforests of the Amazon and the Congo in Africa. And every day, a football field length of trees are being burned down to graze cattle, to build real estate. It's actually a travesty. So we are being called to be eco spiritualist, to believe that the divine mother, Mother Earth, is a living being, God's creation, and that we have to be conscious stewards and caretakers of our planet. The governor of Illinois, the mayor of Chicago, there was a parade of the parliament members, 80 countries, 80 religions represented, and the largest interfaith gathering on the planet. I said yes to the parliament. I received the student discount. That's the nice thing about being a student. When you're not 20, I got a discount and I got a very cheap ticket and I forgot about it. And I had a very busy weekend. And sister friend is Claire. I don't know if I can make this. I have so much homework, so much is going on, but I packed, overpacked, underpacked sweaters because I forgot I was going to a conference. And I was gifted with the most profound experience of my life. It was so transformative. I have tears. I cried a lot to see all of these religious leaders putting their minds and hearts together and desiring us to all wake up and make a change for the planet and for all humanity. So, my beloveds, I'm going to speak about what I gained, the spiritual principles that I saw alive in this parliament. So, my beloveds, you are seekers of truth. We are all secrets of truth. And today I would like us to reflect on the significant gathering that took place on the 14th through the 20th of August. This event served as a powerful reminder of our interconnectedness and the importance of embracing diversity in the spiritual tapestry of humanity. There are moments that stand out to me when I had a connection with a Muslim cleric of the Sunni branch of Islam, which is a very conservative branch of Islam, but that there are clerics that are beginning to look at how the oppression of women is not working. That women are the backbone of the majority of spiritual movements. And to meet this man who was 6 feet tall and in his garb, Dr. So and so, I could not pronounce his name, and I thanked him for having the courage to stand up in his community and to demand women's rights. He said that he had 5 daughters. So I guess with 5 daughters, and he was from someplace in the Middle East, I don't remember. He said he came to realize that his wife and daughters were some of the most brilliant human beings he's ever known, and that he was raised with the idea that women were second-class citizens, and that through his spiritual practice and his lived experience, he had become an activist for women's rights. He'd been threatened with death. He's on a list to be killed for standing up for the human rights and dignity of women. These were the profound encounters that I had. So as I look back on this remarkable congregation of representatives from various faiths, I was reminded of the potential for unity and understanding that lies within our grasp. That as we begin to envision oneness, it is coming to pass on the planet. My beloveds, we receive a broadcast of bad news every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I wept because I was astonished to see the good that is going on the planet. We would not exist if it weren't for the bountiful good that is occurring every day. We were shown a representative, a Buddhist monk from northern China, came to the parliament and spoke with a translator, Her organization and her spiritual leader, and I cannot honor these organizations, this woman's name and her leader, are feeding hungry children in Africa. I had no idea that Buddhist nuns had moved to Kenya and Ghana, Uganda, Namibia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, that they had spread throughout the continent of Africa, teaching women how to become entrepreneurs, how to work with erosion, how to work with some of the new agricultural technologies to grow food for themselves, to help fight the fight against food insecurity. I wept and wept to see these little children speaking in Chinese. We love you, sister so and so. Thank you to our Buddhist nuns in northern China. There is so much good going on. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. One of the poignant lessons that we can gain is that as divergent as our paths may be, beneath the external trappings of rituals and practices, we find common themes of love, kindness, and the pursuit of a higher purpose. Through these shared values, we find common ground and work collectively for the betterment of our world. I am so grateful for where we are moving, this third paradigm shift for unity, because there are so many people who are making a difference on the planet. And we have such a progressive, highly attractive spiritual philosophy that so many more people should know of. And the only way we can get out there is to take spiritually, socially active steps in the world. This is not denying our heritage of spiritually awakening as individuals. Unity is very rooted in this idea that there is a God power within us, and we must turn from the outside world and awaken to the illumination and the ascension and the transcendence that is available for us. But as we awakened, as Jesus, our way shower, and the Buddha, and so many spiritual teachers, they fed the hungry, they clothed the naked, they took care of the elderly, the poor, the disenfranchised. We can begin to do the same. And I believe, united with our powerful metaphysical new thought message, we could have a spiritual revolution on our hands, an integral, evolutionary, spiritual revolution. So the Parliament of World Religions reminded me and so many of us of the urgency to address environmental degradation, social inequality, and other global challenges. These issues transcend borders and faiths. The world is desperately in need of help. I was having lunch with a group of my friends, all of us New Thought delegates, and my meal was the last to come. And the waitress, who was probably in her 20s, got extremely terse with me. I said, my sparkling water hasn't come. And she got very short with me and she was very mean. I didn't take it personally, but I was a little stunned and we all looked at each other, but it passed. At one point, one of the ministers, Reverend Kevin of Unity of Sacramento, who has a congregation of about 400 people and a church that is exploding and on the map. He's an amazing minister. I may introduce him to our community. He is starting a unity ministry, campus ministry at Harvard. He has received $1 million by a backer to help fund Unity New Thought campus ministries, first at Harvard, Then they'll go on to Brown, and hopefully this will mushroom onto college campuses across the country. So young college students will know about unity and be able to find it as a spiritual option. It's incredible what's happening. So he approached this young woman, unbeknownst to us, and we sat back down and said, we need to pray and send her love. And she was very busy. There were about 100 people in the restaurant. And I said, why? And he said, she lost her cousin who was shot dead, assassination style, in his head, bullet to the head, over some gang violence in Chicago the day before, could not get the day off and had to come to work knowing that her best friend and cousin had just been murdered. And here I was. I'm so glad. I think I was in my bliss. I didn't think, well, what's wrong with her? I didn't get on the defensive, but I thought, wow, no wonder she's discharging over a sparkling water. That we don't have something in place in our society, in our culture, in the workplace, so that if you've had a loved one murdered, you can't take a day off. She said she could not afford to take a day off to get past this. So she was trying to compartmentalize. Let's take a cleansing breath in for a second. There is a world in need of our men, a world in need of our love. Love is an action, and we need to help the world awaken to the power within by being of service and shouting from the rooftops that new thought, unity, and all of our movements are the best kept secret. No longer in the bleachers, we will be in the game. So we held the high watch for this young woman and the reality of so much gun violence in this country. There was a wonderful activist that spoke. 30,000 children are killed by gun violence every single year in America. We can no longer stand on the sides and awaken in our lovely homes and through our spiritual practice. We must do as the ascended masters and teachers did, step out into this world and make a loving difference. So there are 3 points that emerged from this parliament. 1, the interconnectedness and unity of all life. This was a reoccurring theme, the recognition of our oneness, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the shared essence of spirituality across all different faiths. The idea that we are all part of a larger cosmic whole underscores the importance of transcending religious boundaries and embracing our common humanity. I was so heartened and just pleased. I kind of am a groupie for the Baha'is, for the Jewish faith, for the Sikhs and the Hindus. There were so many rabbis there, Orthodox rabbis, conservative rabbis, Reformed rabbis who were on fire for making a difference, for the Abrahamic faiths, for making a difference on the planet. There were Palestinians and Jews who came in groups of how they are learning. They've lived in separate realities in Israel, creating stories about each other. Now they are creating community centers where Palestinians and Jews get to know each other and realize we all share the same problems. We're all going through the same things, and you have a right to be here. And you have a right to be here. They didn't know the truth about each other. It's all the broadcast of hatred. That I also saw. I saw clerics. I was blessed to meet and is an Iranian journalist and UN representative who talked about the young women who are protesting in Iran. I don't know if any of you know that. These little girls have taken off their hijabs, their hijab and their veils. They are willing to die for freedom. 2 young women were raped and killed because one showed too much hair. And that was the breaking point for a lot of Iranian women. Too much hair was shown. And so girls from the ages of 11 through 25 are running through the streets, and they say they're willing to be raped and killed for liberation. There is something happening on the planet where human beings no longer want to remain in the shackles of oppression. And our movement through prayer, through affirmative prayer and affirmative action can help to change this. So this unity of diversity offers a powerful reminder that although we are different, we share a oneness and a love for God. The second downloaded spiritual principle that I received was the idea of compassion and service. Another key takeaway was the emphasis on compassion and service as a fundamental tenet of spirituality. I have been blessed to know Reverend Michael Beckwith for about 20 years. He married my best friend, Reverend Arlene Hilton, in California about 18 to 20 years ago. So I've known Reverend Michael, who's Oprah's best friend and Ellen's best friend, and knows everyone and has spoken at the UN and is good friends with the Dalai Lama. And I'm very humble. This man is very successful and knows many people. So when I approach Reverend Michael, I say to him, "Hi, Reverend Michael, I'm Martine." And he said to me, "Stop telling me who you are, Martine. I've known you for 20 years. Stop it." And I said, "Reverend Michael, I've been thinking about it. I had a dream with him a few years ago that he was telling me to be a minister. I said, could I have your personal number? I'd like mentorship from you." I said, he said, "Stop it. Stop acting so weird. Give me your phone. Here's my personal number." And at one point throughout we kept on bumping into each other. He presented, I was there. At one point I was mentioning to people that I was born in Haiti. And I've always had a dream of translating our text, unity text and science of mind text into Haitian Creole. My dream, I've always said, when I'm a philanthropist. I bump into Reverend Michael. He's walking down a hall and he looks at me and he goes, "Haiti." He's so intuitive. He's given me readings on my life in the past. And I said, "Reverend Michael." He said, why do I feel like there's an emphasis on Haiti?" I said, "I want to translate the science of mind and unity texts into Haitian Creole." He said, "They've translated my books into Spanish." He said, "That's not a problem. We could do that." He's like, "Do you think we could translate one of my books into Haitian Creole?" I said, "Of course we could. I know linguists, I know." And he's like, "I do too." He's like, "Let's talk. Maybe that's what we're meant to do." He said, "I'd love to go to Haiti." He's like, "Maybe, I know that things are happening, but I feel as though maybe we can do a fundraiser and get the books translated into Haitian Creole and get them into some young teenagers and 20-somethings hands and let the Haitian people know that there is a power within them that is greater beyond their circumstances and that they can overcome what has been happening in their country for decades." He's like, "You don't have to wait until you're a philanthropist to do this. We can do this right now." He's like, "I know billionaires. We can do this." This is what is possible with our movement. And we are moving into this dimension of serving humanity, first through our books, translation into languages that have not been sellable or marketable. This is what's possible when we serve humanity from a God-centered point. The third principle, my beloveds, and I'm so excited. I'm in a bit of a circle. Thank you for listening to me. But I wept and wept when I saw the documentary on the Amazon. and what is being done. I didn't know that cartels are forcing at gunpoint the indigenous people to burn the Amazon. They are trying to burn it for cocaine fields and poppy fields. They are killing the indigenous people and threatening their lives. This is why the Amazon is burning. Corruption and greed and drug trade and 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 a meat trade. I'm not saying don't eat meat, but the level at which we do these things are so unhealthy for the planet. My friend Dr. Liza had to hold me as I wept. They are being mutilated, their hands are being cut, they are killing their children if they refuse to burn the Amazon. We need our prayers, we need our actions. We can no longer, as a movement, sit on the sidelines. I had no idea how much good was happening on the planet and how much suffering, because it does not make the nightly news. And there are those in power who don't want us to know. Because from the cartels, the Brazilian, Colombian, and Venezuelan governments get a cut. So why would they want you to know? So the parliament addressed this urgent need of environmental stewardship. So many faiths expressed shared responsibility to protect and preserve the earth. There were scientists that spoke who are involved in the UN's mandate to save the Amazon and the Congo, because these are the largest rainforests, because they're actually the lungs of the planet. If they die, we die. They keep the equator is getting warmer and warmer. I knew, but I had no idea the hurt, the pain, and the suffering that is going on. And so we can change this by praying, but also moving our feet. So the concept of creation care or eco-spirituality emerged as a unifying principle, driving home the idea of safeguarding the planet. It's a moral imperative. There was an Orthodox rabbi that talked about Deuteronomy's scripture of holiness. He spoke it in Hebrew. It was so beautiful. How we are called to be healthy, that we are called, even though we lust after meat, to bring it down. And kosher, being kosher, and all of these religious tenets are ways that we can mitigate our desire and our lusts for the things of the world. And there's a tenet in Leviticus that talks about it is a sin to cut down a fruit tree. That even if you hate your enemy, you cannot create life. You cannot offer sustenance the way God can. God has created the fruit trees. So it is a sin to burn down your enemy's fruit trees, because fruit trees last hundreds of years and give nourishment to generations of people. So you are going against God when you destroy the earth and when you don't take care of yourself. So coming into this oneness at this parliament, there is a moral imperative that we embrace eco-spirituality, safeguarding the planet. It transcends our religious affiliations. And as the children of God, we are called to this. So oneness, unity, and harmony, compassion and service, and stewardship of Mother Earth as moral imperatives. And the beautiful Chinese abbot that I met from Beijing, who brought an ancient scroll and dedicated to the parliament, said to all of us, harmony creates peace and balance in life. When you are harmonious with yourself, self-forgiveness, self-love, inner work, oneness with the divine through spiritual practices, falling off the horse and getting back into it, falling asleep to our beautiful unity principles and reawakening. We have peace and balance, harmony with each other. When we accept our differences and we know that they are just simply the garments that we wear, but that we are all seeking God, it creates harmony on earth and harmony with Gaia. She flourishes and we live. When we become aware that indigenous peoples are being oppressed everywhere and killed because they have a deeper understanding and healthier relationship with the planet, and that greed and oppression are harming them. When we stand up for injustice, we are standing in the true legacy of the New Thought Unity movement. We are making a difference, but we are being called, my beloveds, to pray affirmatively and to move our feet. The world needs us. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share on the life-changing event that has made me feel. I give thanks to this community for asking me to speak so many years now. I give thanks to Ted and Lauren and Mayim for supporting me financially. I'm where I'm meant to be. I was with my tribe. I've been lost for a very long time, and I have found the group of people I belong to, you and my religious brothers and sisters on the planet. We are making a great difference. Life is good, and infinite possibilities await us as we embrace love in action. And so it